As an African proverb goes, a friend is someone you share the path with. On the path to modernization, no one and no country should be left behind.
Just a few days ago, leaders from over 50 African countries made their way to Beijing for the latest China-Africa summit, known as the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation. Even the UN chief, Antonio Guterres, showed up. It's no surprise, really. China and Africa have grown much closer over the past 2 decades, with economic cooperation and massive investments in infrastructure like roads, railways, and energy projects. China's now Africa's largest trading partner, and things are evolving fast. As the 9th Forum wraps up in Beijing, there's a new focus on the table: the global renewable energy race. This is a major shift, with both sides eyeing greener, more sustainable growth. In today's video, we're diving into how China has managed to outsmart the US and Europe in Africa by creating win-win partnerships with African countries. But before we get into all the details, make sure to hit that subscribe button and show your support. How China is winning in Africa. The global push for renewable energy, think solar panels, wind power, and electric vehicles, has created a massive demand for the key minerals that make this green tech possible. Years ago, China saw an opportunity to lead in this space. And now it's racing ahead, especially in Africa, where many of these critical resources are found. Africa holds some of the world's most important minerals for renewable energy, like copper, cobalt, and lithium, essential components for things like batteries and electric vehicles. So, as the world pushes for green energy, the rush for these minerals has intensified, with China, the US, and Europe all competing for a slice of the pie. Let's break down China's winning strategy in Africa. Chinese mining operations might not be as widespread as Western ones, but they're making a huge impact in a few key countries: Guinea, Zambia, South Africa, Zimbabwe, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Among these, Congo, Zambia, and Zimbabwe are the front lines of this new green energy race. They make up Africa's copper belt and are home to massive reserves of copper, cobalt, and lithium, minerals crucial for building the technology of the future. Take the Democratic Republic of Congo, for example. It's a powerhouse when it comes to cobalt, producing over 70% of the world's supply. Cobalt is a super important metal for lithium-ion batteries, thanks to its strength and heat resistance. And China? They've secured their spot as the leading investor in Congo, owning about 72% of the country's active cobalt and copper mines. One of their biggest stakes is the Tenke Fungurume mine, which ranks as the world's 2nd largest cobalt mine and the 5th largest copper mine. In 2019, China and Congo together accounted for about 70% of global cobalt production. That's some serious control over the supply chain. Zimbabwe is another African country where China has been making big moves. With the largest lithium reserves in Africa, Zimbabwe is crucial in the race to supply electric vehicle batteries. In 2023, a Chinese company, Zhejiang Huayu Cobalt, opened a $300 million lithium processing plant in Zimbabwe, capable of processing 4.5 million tons of hard rock lithium annually. This puts Zimbabwe firmly on the global stage as demand for lithium skyrockets. But that's not all. China's interests in Africa go beyond these critical minerals. They're also investing in large-scale projects that will shape the future of renewable energy. For example, in Morocco, China is building the first mega-scale battery factory on the continent, further cementing their lead in green tech. And in Guinea, Chinese companies have secured the rights to develop Simandou, the world's largest untapped high-grade iron ore deposit. This ore is vital for steel production, which plays a key role in renewable energy, especially in constructing wind turbines and solar panel mounts. Production is expected to begin in 2026, and it's set to be a game changer for both Africa and China. So, as you can see, China has a well-thought-out strategy in Africa. It's not just about extracting resources, it's about leading the global shift toward renewable energy, and Africa is a central player in that vision. How Africa is winning through China. As China's economy keeps growing, so does its need for natural resources, especially minerals. This is a golden opportunity for African countries which are rich in these resources. But if African nations want to truly benefit from this, they need to play their cards right. First, focus on better working conditions and human rights. Why does this matter? Well, when countries enforce strong regulations, it does more than protect workers, it also boosts their credibility with international investors. Take Zambia as an example. It's one of the biggest copper producers in the world. In recent years, the Zambian government has taken steps to improve working conditions and crack down on unsafe labor practices in its mining sector. These efforts have made Zambia more attractive to responsible foreign investors while also improving the livelihoods of its workers. And let's face it, a good reputation goes a long way in attracting long-term investments. Second, learn from Chinese partners. Let's remember, China didn't start off as a global powerhouse. It learned from other countries like Japan, Taiwan, and even Western economies on how to industrialize and build a strong economy. So, what can Africa take away from this? It's all about soaking up that industrial and technical knowledge. A great example is Ethiopia, where Chinese companies have invested heavily in the manufacturing sector. By absorbing that knowledge, Ethiopia has started shifting from an agriculture-based economy to one that's more industrialized. It's a gradual process, but the transformation is happening. On top of that, China has been very successful in setting up vocational and technical training programs that prepare young people for jobs in key sectors. African nations can replicate this model. In fact, Rwanda is already on it. Through its partnership with China, Rwanda has established several technical schools that train young people in construction, engineering, and other high-demand fields. This kind of skills development is crucial for driving long-term economic growth and preparing Africa's youth for future challenges. And third, take notes from other emerging markets. It's also important for African countries to take a page out of the playbook of other emerging markets that have worked with China. A standout example is Indonesia, which has positioned itself as a leader in the global nickel market, largely thanks to its partnership with China. Here's how Indonesia did it. In 2014, they banned the export of unprocessed nickel, forcing companies to set up local processing plants. Instead of simply shipping raw materials abroad, Indonesia wanted to create jobs and build up its own industrial base. With China's investments and support, Indonesia grew its nickel processing industry, and now they control a big chunk of the global nickel market. This approach has allowed them to climb up the value chain, and African countries could do something similar. By focusing on adding value to their raw materials, whether it's copper, cobalt, or lithium, they can keep more profits and jobs within their borders rather than just exporting everything in raw form. And that's exactly why Africa welcomed China's investment and support. But here's a question for you. Do you think China's involvement in Africa has been a win-win for both sides? We'd love to hear what you think, so share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you want to see more content like this, make sure to subscribe to our channel to stay updated.